My name's Alastair Williamson, and I'm the CEO of Wyld Networks. And I've got about 8 slides here that really talk about who Wyld are, what we do, what problems we solve, where we are in the journey, what the size of the market is, and a view on what 2023 looks like. So Wyld Networks is a virtual satellite network operator for the Internet of Things. We listed on the NASDAQ First North in Stockholm. If you're interested in following us, our ticker is Wyld, W-Y-L-D. We are operationally based in the UK, in Cambridge and Brighton. So bear with me, there we go. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? So only 15% of the world's surface has wireless coverage. The other 85% has no access to the internet. And it's this lack of global connectivity that's holding back the growth of IoT networks from adding about 2 to 3 trillion US dollars to global GDP over the next 10 years. So what we've done is we've developed a solution called Wyld Connect. And Wyld Connect's an affordable wireless solution that connects IoT devices and sensors anywhere in the world directly to low Earth orbiting satellites to provide 100% global coverage. So we're actually fixing that 85% of the world's surface that has no access to the internet by offering our customers, in particular our IoT customers, the ability to connect their IoT sensors anywhere in the world. So if I was to give you an analogy of comparable solutions, so SpaceX and through Elon Musk and Kupia with Bezos, they're using low Earth orbiting satellites to connect people to the internet. And what we're doing, using a completely different technology, is connecting IoT devices anywhere to the internet. So if we look at what the solution looks like, so we've got really 3 components to our complete end-to-end connectivity solution. So we have Wyld Connect, which is a hardware module, which is shown on the left-hand side here, which is a piece of hardware that's integrated into an IoT sensor. And that piece of hardware basically collects data from that sensor and sends that data to a low Earth orbiting satellite when that satellite passes overhead. And what's really critical and unique about that piece of hardware is that it doesn't require external power. As you can imagine, that 85% of the world's surface, there's no electricity. So that piece of hardware embedded into an IoT sensor requires no external power. It can be put into the field. It will stay in the field depending on how much data is consumed for up to about 5 years. The data is then sent from the satellite back down to a ground station and into a platform we call Wyld Fusion. And Wyld Fusion's our provisioning platform. It provisions the IoT devices and ensures that we're only collecting data from IoT devices that have been paid for and are actually being provided by Wyld. It also does the security piece, and it also does the payment piece, because obviously we charge our customers a monthly fee for using the service. Wyld Fusion then collects that data and provides that data to industry platforms. And they're our customers, whether it's a Chevron platform, whether it's a agrocognitive platform, or whoever our customers, they have platforms that collect data, and we then pass that data to their platforms, and they can then do the data analytics to make informed decisions based on the data they've collected from their IoT sensors. And if we look a bit more as to what the solution is, I talked about Wyld Connect is the hardware piece. That picture actually shows 3 PCBs there. The actual module itself is the smallest PCB that's basically integrated onto a carrier and then onto an evaluation kit. And we charge about $40 for each module that we sell. And that module is integrated into a sensor. And then there's the Wyld data piece, and that's the service fee that our customers pay us for collecting that data. And that service fee is up to $5 per sensor or $5 per module that we've deployed into the network. So we're currently working with a few satellite providers that have got our technology embedded into their satellites. So that's Eutelsat, Lacuna, Astrocast, and also DEWA, which is the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, that have launched their own satellite networks. So I want to spend a bit of time on use cases. So as you can imagine, the verticals that we're addressing are verticals that have got assets primarily in that 85% of the world's surface where there's no access to the internet today. So that's agriculture, utilities, environment, energy, and logistics. And if I can just take you through a few of those use cases. So if we go back to agriculture, soil moisture sensors actually represent quite a lot of the orders that we've actually got into the company over the last few months. And if I can give you one example, sort of British American Tobacco, they have over 90,000 farms growing tobacco leaves, and they're looking to deploy 4 sensors or 4 modules for each of those farms to collect data to understand how they can reduce the waste of water and also understand how they can increase the yield of their crop on the same footprint. And then if we look at the environment, deforestation, we've got a customer called Trevia, and they're looking, well, they already are deploying sensors on trees to actually look at the growth of those trees. And that also relates to how much liquid or water is retained within that tree, so they can understand the longevity of that tree, and they can actually look at how to actually forest that tree with an environmental view on ensuring they're not deforesting a lot of the Amazon, in particular in Brazil. So our solution is deployed into their sensors. They collect that data and they can make informed decisions based on that data. And then if we look at the energy sector, we're doing a lot on pipeline monitoring. If we take Chevron, they've got thousands of kilometers of oil pipes. And what they're looking to do is to deploy sensors on those oil pipes to look at the corrosion levels within oil pipes. So that's about preventative maintenance. They're looking at how to ensure that their pipes are not leaking oil. So they're measuring corrosion on all of their pipelines, and our sensors or our modules are deployed into the sensors that collect data to allow them to actually make informed decisions as to when to actually provide some preventive maintenance to those pipelines. Also, we've got customers that you know of, Sea Towers, DEWA, and IMEA, who are looking at how to deploy turbines and how to collect data from those turbines and also monitor wind and shear strengths on pylons. So they're collecting all that data to make informed decisions. And what we're also seeing now is a lot of use cases coming through in logistics, which is getting very, very large for Wyld. We formed a partnership with Senate in the US, which is a terrestrial LoRa provider, and their focus is mainly on logistics and actually tracking goods from farm all the way through to the consumer. So we're working with them to deploy solutions, particularly in logistics. We're working with shipping companies like Maersk, who want to actually connect a lot of their containers to the internet to measure temperature and humidity as those containers move across from land through sea back to land. So the use cases are broad and varied, but if I can sort of look at those use cases, they're split into sort of use cases that allow our customers to improve their operational efficiencies, also to provide preventative maintenance. But also what we're finding with our customers is they're using our solution to try and ensure that they're meeting their environmental and sustainability goals. You know, pointing back to agriculture, as I said before, 30% of the waste of water globally comes from agriculture. So there's a huge push particularly in the agricultural sector, to look at how they reduce that waste of water. I'll just give you a view on the sort of customers that we have. We're working with the likes of Bayer, Eutelsat, Syngenta in the agricultural space, British American Tobacco, American Towers, KWS, Chevron, and many, many more. We have about 45 partners that we're currently working with and starting to solicit orders from these partners. And this is an interesting slide, because what I wanted to do was to give you a view on the development of our order backlog. As you know, we launched the network commercially on December the 8th, 2022, so about 6 weeks ago. And we've been building our order backlog, and we're just looking at the last 6 months, August through to January, and we've been sort of getting business for Wyld Connect units August through to October. We started in October to generate business for the data piece, which is the up to $5 per month per device that we sell. November and December, we started to grow that business. And as we launched the network in December the 8th, then basically we really increased the order intake we got. So we've now sort of moved that order intake from the 30 million SEK through to the 52 million. So we added about 19.6 million SEK in January, and we're now starting to see our data orders starting to increase as well. So that's 52 million SEK of order backlog. Only about 3.8 million of it is represented by data, but you'll see moving forward through the next few weeks, we'll start to add a lot more order intake onto our data piece as customers start to deploy the solution, actually want to collect data from the network. So we'll start to see the orders for the data piece start to increase, but also we'll start to see the orders for the Wyld Connect units increase pretty dramatically in 2023. So it's been a very, very good January for us. To give you an idea of what does this mean in the number of Wyld Connect modules that we've got orders for, well, it represents about 172,000 Wyld Connect modules. And as those get deployed in the field, then we'll be looking to generate revenues of up to $5 per month per module that gets deployed into the field. I also wanted to give you an idea of all of the opportunities that we're working on, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. And so if we look at our sales opportunity pipeline as of January, well, as of actually today, and we look at the unweighted sales opportunity pipeline in all the different stages of 10% through to 90%. So these are all customers that we're engaged with, moving from demonstration through to negotiation, and obviously at 100% it becomes a closure. But we've got an unweighted sales opportunity pipeline as of today of about 360 million krona or SEK. So hopefully that gives you a view on how good 2022 was, but also how phenomenal 2023 is going to be for the company, considering we've just launched the network in December this year. I wanted to sort of give you an idea of the size of the market. So the total addressable market by 2025 is about $5.9 billion US. And we believe our market share should be about $670 million US by 2025, which would give us a market share of about 11.3%. Now, a lot of that comes down to different use cases, but the use cases that we're focusing on represent that $670 million US by 2025, giving us about 11% on the $5.9 billion US. I'm always asked for, why should I invest in Wyld? And I come back to the same points that I've talked about many times before. One is we're solving a real world problem by providing that 100% global connectivity. and basically solving that problem of 85% of the world's surface having no access to the internet. As I said, the majority of our customers have assets in that 85% of the world's surface, and they're really pent up in deploying IoT devices to collect that data in that 85% of the world's surface, to provide them with information or data that allows them to make informed decisions. So we're solving a real world problem. Not only are we basically selling Wyld Connect, which is the hardware module that I showed you earlier on in the presentation, but we've got a great reoccurring revenue model here where our customers are paying us up to $5 per month per module or Wyld Connect hardware device that we ship. And that's where we're going to start to see the significant growth of our revenues over the next few years coming from that reoccurring data. We've already got purchase orders in place. As I said earlier, we've got purchase orders of up to 54 million kroner. We've got patents pending and trademarks secured. And lastly, more importantly, we've actually spent an awful lot of time over the last few years getting ourselves to the position of being able to launch the satellite IoT network, which we launched on the 8th of December 2022. So 2023 is really going to be a phenomenal year for us. I think you can see that from the order intake of the last 6 months compared to what we've done in January and what we expect to be doing moving forward in 2023. So I'm happy to stop sharing and more than happy to answer any of your questions. So thanks very much.